The New York City mayoral race has suddenly become one of the most intriguing political dramas, with speculation intensifying over the past week that allies of former President Donald Trump might be working behind the scenes to clear the way for Andrew Cuomo. This surprising alliance raises a compelling question. Why would Trump's circle potentially back a longtime adversary like Cuomo? But here's where it gets controversial. This possible partnership challenges conventional political rivalries and begs us to rethink the strategies at play. According to a report from the New York Times last Friday, Trump advisor Steve Witkoff met with Mayor Eric Adams during a Florida trip that was publicly described as a birthday celebration. During that meeting, discussions reportedly touched on Adams's political future. In an interesting twist revealed shortly after, Adams declared he would remain in the mayoral race. Meanwhile, Curtis Sliwa, the Republican candidate, who has also been rumored to be considering stepping down for a government position, has been very firm about his intention to stay in the contest and his lack of interest in joining the White House. Despite their denials and steadfastness, these reports have illuminated what appears to be a coordinated effort from Trump's allies to consolidate support behind Cuomo, who is attempting to overtake progressive candidate Zohran Mamdani in the November election. Democratic strategist Trip Yang summarized the situation briskly, noting, "It appears that in Trump's world, preventing Mamdani from winning is considered the highest priority in New York." He remarked on how unusual it is for a sitting or former president to intervene so actively in a mayoral election. At first glance, Trump's apparent involvement might seem unexpected, especially considering some Republicans could see Mamdani's progressive platform as advantageous by providing an easy target for GOP attacks in the upcoming midterms. After all, Mamdani has already made national headlines by defeating Cuomo in the Democratic primary, a shockwave that Republicans quickly sought to exploit by linking him closely with the Democratic Party. This creates a difficult scenario for Democrats. Leading figures like Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, both from New York, have so far refrained from endorsing Mamdani outright. They explain this cautious approach as ongoing dialogue without a formal endorsement, highlighting uncertainty within the party about backing such a progressive candidate fully. Yet, if reports hold water, Trump seems disinterested in promoting Mamdani's candidacy or allowing it to unfold unchallenged. He has publicly expressed a desire for 2 of the 4 remaining mayoral candidates to exit the race, increasing the odds for whoever faces Mamdani one-on-one, though he hasn't specified which candidates should step aside. Recent news stories suggest that some within Trump's orbit have quietly explored ways to encourage Adams and Sliwa to withdraw, leaving Cuomo as the consolidating figure best positioned to pull off a surprise victory. Cuomo, often in second place in the polls, would benefit from a narrowed field. Historically, Trump and Cuomo share a contentious relationship, stemming from Cuomo's time as New York governor during Trump's presidency. Their antagonism extended to legal troubles when the Justice Department, under Trump's administration, investigated Cuomo's congressional testimony about COVID-19 policies. However, reports indicate that Trump has reconsidered his approach, consulting allies about which candidate could effectively defeat Mamdani. Cuomo was reportedly identified as that candidate. Although Cuomo denies ever having spoken with Trump about the mayoral race, the optics of such communication are already creating waves. Cuomo has been explicit in rejecting any Trump endorsement, emphasizing he does not want Trump involved in his campaign whatsoever. Still, the possibility that Trump supports Cuomo marks a dramatic shift from their previous animosity and underscores Trump's deep ties to New York City. Despite now residing in Florida, New York remains central to Trump's business empire and personal identity, which could explain his vested interest. New York Democratic strategist John Reinish explains, Even though the president can be adversarial toward New York, it's his home base, and his family's business empire is deeply rooted there. He adds that many business leaders connected to Trump are concerned about the city's future, highlighting that these political moves may be driven as much by economic considerations as by ideology. Critics of Mamdani argue his progressive proposals are impractical and financially unsustainable, potentially harming the city's fragile economy. Mamdani counters that such critiques are a tactic by wealthy elites to maintain the status quo and block meaningful change. Several notable details remain unconfirmed, such as whether Trump himself is directly orchestrating these maneuvers. Adams has denied any personal discussions with Trump regarding job offers. Speculation about roles for Adams includes potential positions at the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or even an ambassadorship to Saudi Arabia, though Trump has publicly denied extending any such offer. The White House declined to comment on these circulating conversations. Meanwhile, many Democrats warn that any hint of Trump's influence in a dominantly Democratic city could backfire spectacularly, given his deep unpopularity among New Yorkers. Strategist Trip Yang bluntly stated, "The association with Trump is going to severely damage Cuomo's chances." George Albro of the New York Progressive Action Network echoed this sentiment, declaring that the Trump stench could overshadow the campaign despite Trump's attempt to keep a low profile. However, Reinisch offered a different perspective, suggesting that local voters might focus more on everyday concerns like subway safety and education, rather than presidential politics. Mamdani will likely attempt to link Cuomo to Trump, but ultimately, Trump isn't running for mayor. That's New Yorkers' decision, Reinisch said, calling Trump's involvement a wild card. Mamdani and his supporters have seized on this opportunity to portray Cuomo as aligned with Trump's interests. On social media, Mamdani criticized the trio of Trump, Cuomo, and Adams, accusing them of prioritizing their own power over the futures of struggling New Yorkers. In a bold move, Mamdani publicly challenged Trump to debate him directly in New York City, cutting out any intermediaries and escalating the political theater. This unprecedented saga in the NYC mayoral election not only reshapes alliances, but also forces voters to confront uncomfortable questions about political strategy, loyalty, and the influence of national figures in local races. What do you think? Should Trump's allies have any say in NYC's leadership? Can Cuomo truly separate himself from Trump's shadow? Share your thoughts and join the conversation below.